What if I told you that in Kenya, there was a man so synonymous with money that an entire currency note was nicknamed after him? Meet Cyrus Jirongo, the controversial politician whose name became interchangeable with the 500 shilling note in the 1990s. This is a story of power, money, scandal, and one of the most infamous political movements in Kenyan history. To understand Jirongo's rise, we need to travel back to 1991. Kenya had just ended its one-party state system. President Daniel Arap Moi, who had ruled since 1978, repealed Section 2A of the Constitution, allowing multi-party democracy for the first time in decades. But Moi wasn't about to lose power easily. As the 1992 elections approached, he needed a strategy to maintain his grip on the presidency. Here comes Youth for KANU 92, or YK 92 as popularly known, a youth mobilization movement with one mission: to ensure Moi's victory at any cost. And at the helm of this movement was a young man, a young, ambitious businessman named Cyrus Jirongo. Jirongo didn't just create a political movement, he built a money-powered machine. YK92 brought together young, energetic politicians, including people like William Ruto, who is now Kenya's president, Sam Nyamweya, and General Bomet. But what made YK92 truly notorious wasn't just its political tactics. It was the sheer amount of cash they had access to. They showed up at rallies with bags full of crispy, brand new 500 shilling notes. And in 1992, this was shocking. You see, until then, the highest denomination in Kenya was the 200 shilling note. The 500 shilling note had only been recently introduced by the Central Bank of Kenya in 1998. And suddenly, YK92 members were distributing them like candy at political rallies. Former Minister Noah Wekesa recalled receiving 500,000 shillings from Jirongo during the campaign period of 1992 or thereabout. In 1992, that was serious money. Jirongo would walk into meetings with bags full of cash, hand out Mercedes Benzes, and allocate government houses to supporters. As YK92 crisscrossed the country, dishing out these new 500 shilling notes, Kenyans began to notice a pattern. Every time Jirongo showed up, these fresh bills appeared. The money flowed so freely that people started calling the 500 shilling note itself the Jirongo. Kakamega Deputy Governor Ayub Savula explained it perfectly. This money was printed during the 1992 campaign period, and Jirongo was the first person to distribute it. This is what he said. The nickname stuck. Even today, decades later, many Kenyans still remember the 500 shilling note as the Jirongo. It's not every day that a person becomes so associated with money that he literally became the nickname for the currency. And here's the question everyone was asking: where was all this money coming from? So for years, rumors whirled that YK92 members had access to printing presses, that they were literally manufacturing money. Jirongo always denied this. In a podcast years later, he said, if the government printed money, that is a different thing, but not us. Printing is the work of central bank. But Jirongo did eventually admit where the money really came from, and the truth perhaps was even more shocking than the rumors. The cash came from what became known as the Goldenberg scandal, Africa's biggest corruption scandal involving gold. Here's how it started. Between 1991 and 1993, a businessman named Kamlesh Patni ran a company called Goldenberg International. The company claimed to be exporting Kenyan gold and diamond. The problem? Kenya produced virtually no gold or diamond. Patni's company received massive government subsidies, like 35% compensation on these fictitious exports. The government was essentially paying Goldenberg for exports that never happened. The scheme drained at least 10% of Kenya's GDP. That's roughly 600 million to 1.5 billion US dollars stolen from the country. Jirongo later confirmed by saying, obviously, it was Goldenberg money. Even a bank existed called Exchange Bank, purposely set up under the pretense of looking for dollars, and the money was being given to the Central Bank of Kenya. Was being given by the Central Bank of Kenya to these people and adding them 33% for compensation. That is the money that was being distributed. The effect of Goldenberg and the money flooding into politics were devastating. The increased money supply triggered rapid inflation. The Kenyan shilling collapsed. The economy that was already struggling under international pressure and donor withdrawal was brought to its knees. But politically, YK92 achieved its mission. Moi won both the 1992 and 1997 elections, partly through youth mobilization and financial muscle that Jirongo's movement provided. In April 1993, however, Moi suspended YK92 operations, officially ending the movement. But the damage and the nickname remained. Jirongo went on to serve as Member of Parliament for Lugari constituency from 1997 to 2002, and again from 2007 to 2013. He even briefly served as Minister for Rural Development in 2002 during the twilight of Moi's administration. But his financial dealings continued to haunt him. In 1993, he secured a loan of 2.7 billion shillings from a state-owned bank using 2 parcels of public land as collateral. Land that wasn't even his. By 2022, with interest, the debt had ballooned to nearly 40 billion shillings. When the bank tried to collect, Jirongo declared bankruptcy. Those who knew him say he was extraordinarily generous, often giving away everything he had. He lived large, dreamt big, and according to his associates, never really held on to money despite knowing how to make it.